Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my theory tuition series where I'm working with you step by step through each of the ABRSM theory grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets. They're available to download in US letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series. You'll find a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also find out about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and hints on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to make the best use of your time when you're working through your paper on exam day. So if you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find it all there. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more to come. And now we're going to continue with the 2014 Grade 4 past papers, and we're going to be looking at paper S. So if you turn with me to page 20, we'll have a look at that. Before we make a start though, there's just a few things to say about this. Paper S is a paper that's never actually been sat at an exam. This is just a sample paper or a specimen paper that ABRSM provided in this booklet as a bonus attempt, just to give you a little bit extra revision practice. And then of course from 2018 onwards the layout of the paper has changed slightly. You won't be having to answer any questions on rhythms or rhythms to words, and also any performance directions will be presented to you in multiple choice format. However, these papers are still an excellent revision resource, and I do suggest that you make full use of them and take lots of practice papers before you go for your actual exam. I always suggest you have a go of all these questions on your own first of all. Doesn't matter if you go wrong, always write in pencil and then you'll learn more thoroughly through those mistakes. And so let's now work through this together. So all of the questions on this page will be relating back to this little extract here. And here straight away we see that the format in its older style, obviously it's an older paper, but I suggest you go ahead and give any of these performance terms their full definition, just because it's really good practice to do so. So maestoso means majestic. I guess you could also say stately, anything along those lines. Majestic is the sort of more oft used one though. The next question, so we're getting down to the nitty-gritty now. Describe the time signature. We need to describe it as it's simple or compound. Is it duple, triple or quadruple? Now simple or compound describes whether it's in groups of two. If it's grouped into groups of two, then it's simple. If it's in groups of three, then it's compound. And then depending how many groups we're in, we'll answer this: are the 2, 3 or 4 beats per bar. So here our time signature is 6/4, which means 6 crotchet beats or 6 quarter notes per bar. And we can see here the way it's grouped, it's actually a compound. It's grouped in 2 groups of 3, and so that gives you both answers there. So we're in compound time and we're in 2 beats in a bar, so it's duple. Not immediately obvious that one isn't, you just have to revise it and get to grips with that. Now we're asked to do a little bit of observation. What's one similarity and what's one difference between bars 3 and bars 5? Now pretty often, pretty nearly all the time, the similarity is at least the rhythm, which it is in this case. So the rhythm for both of those bars is exactly the same. If you want to take that a bit further, we could say that both have got a trill in it and both have got grace notes. However, rhythm is the most obvious one, I think. The difference, there's not a lot of difference actually. The only difference here is the pitch of the last note. So there's not a lot to go on there, just the pitch of the last note in each of those changes. Righty ho. Now draw a circle around two notes next to each other that are a minor seventh apart. So we're looking for a minor seventh. That's a fair old jump, so that should be easy enough to spot. So let's just look for something that's reasonably like a seventh to begin with. That's too far, that's an octave. These are all too close, that's a fifth. These are all in step. Here we go, this is looking promising. 1, 3, 5, 7, and we've got an F to an E flat. F to E natural would be major, F to E flat, that's part of the minor scale. And we've made that major interval smaller. If you just visualise that, the E has been made smaller to the E flat, that means we've gone to minor. And there's our minor seventh, so we'll circle that. Next bit, we need to rewrite the first two notes in bar 2 so that they sound at the same pitch, but we're changing to alto clef, and we need to put the key signature in so that all of that matches up. So the key signature is 1 flat, so we'll just pop that in. That goes below the C line. Remember, this is middle C. And now to make sure that we get the same pitch and don't by mistake jump an octave either way, if we keep middle C as our reference point, that should help us. So let's look at the first two notes in bar 2. Now here in the bass clef, this is middle C. So we're on the next note above middle C, and then we're a third higher. So we've gone from the D to the F above middle C. So here's middle C, this will be the D, and then a third higher will be here. So we just need to pop the stems in now. Both of those stems can go down, and that's soon sorted. Let's move on. So we need to give the number of a bar which contains two notes with different letter names, so two different notes that are not in the key of D minor. Now D minor has a key signature of B flats, and we can also have a raised seventh of C sharps. So we need to look for anything outside of that that doesn't fit two notes. And so here we see we've got two accidentals. So A flat doesn't find any part in D minor, neither does E flat. So there's our bar. So it's bar 5. Now we've got a square bracket over the first phrase, and we need to mark all other phrases the same way. Now ordinarily what you would do is you'd count one full bar and then whatever's left over. However, here we see that these rests give us lots of natural breaks, and so even though the maths doesn't always work out, we need to look at the line of the music. And so here we can see there's a next phrase just purely because it's demarked out away from these rests. This is definitely a separate little section of music, and then we get this same one here. So we're now extending beyond the fact that it should mathematically add up the same. They can actually now be different lengths. So here's our next phrase, and the rests really do all of the thinking for us. And we can see it's from there to there. And then here is the next phrase, purely because the rests show us where the break occurs. And then here is the remainder of that phrase. So I'm just going to extend it over the clef to show that it's still part of this. And that's where that one ends. So that's the end of that question. Now if we just peep over to the next section, to the next page, question 2, here we see an example of the older paper where we were asked to either write a rhythm to words or complete a 4-bar rhythm. It used to be an option between those two, whereas now we're no longer required to do either of these. So from 2018 onwards, this won't appear on your paper, so we can just skip that. However, the validity of working through these past papers still is immeasurable. So even though this is no longer on the from 2018 onwards, I still suggest you do lots of past papers, but just know that you can skip that. So we'll look at the next question in the next video. I do hope that's helpful to you. I hope that you're enjoying it. I hope it's of benefit to you. I'm certainly enjoying working through it with you. If you can give me a like, that would be really fab. And please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more to come. Please also do go to my website, have a browse around sharonbill.com and make use of all the resource and information that's available to help you there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.